the fact that couples are more likely to divorce when pornography is involved. Why do you think that actually is? What is pornography doing to us when it comes to relationships?
So I'll give you some specifics from the male perspective, and then some things that are general, whether it's the man
Go
or
on.
the woman that's watching pornography. Okay, from the male perspective, let's really think about this. So we know that men, like, there's this whole movement online of polyamory, right? And that, like, hey, you can have as many wives as you want, and what's the big deal, and all this kind of like nonsense. And the big strong argument, which I would say, if there's one thing that I can kind of see where they're coming from, or one thing that at least has a shred of, okay, fair point, it's that men are generally wired to have multiple opportunities. Multiple opportunities. So we are like that. Men are not like, oh, I'm in a relationship, I'm not going to go check out that hot girl. Your brain does not help you in that department. You have to make a conscious decision to, I'm going to commit to this person, and I'm going to stay faithful to them. So let's think about this. Okay, I'm committed to my wife, and now I'm going to introduce a third party. Now, what if I told you that third party was a person, an actual person? Hey, we need a little bit of excitement in the relationship. Let's bring in a person. Well, everybody's like, dude, that's a terrible idea. What if I told you every single week I was going to bring in the same person? What do you think is going to happen the next time I get in a fight with my wife, and I have a sexual urge? Well, I'm not going to go to my wife. I'll just go to the other person. I already have a sexual history with them. I have familiarity. They're just a call away. They've never said no so far. Well, that third person for most people is pornography.
Yeah.
And what's the difference? It's just a digital experience, but it's doing all the same things. It's giving you the sexual satisfaction or the sexual experience. It's programming you to experience arousal from somebody other than your partner. It literally just taps into everything in your hardwiring biologically that would want you to be promiscuous and explore other opportunities. So it's not really that surprising then, when somebody's watching pornography, that they're more likely to get divorced. Of course you are. You're programming your brain to get arousal from people other than your spouse. So why wouldn't you get divorced, or why wouldn't you have an affair? It kind of just makes sense. Now, let's talk about this from the perspective of not just the man, but both people at large. If we go a layer deeper, we know that sexual experiences are not just physical. The physical part is the tip of the iceberg, but underneath a sexual experience is an emotional experience and a spiritual experience. And similarly, for whether you're male or female, whether this is just physical or this is just visual or whatever, when you start having sexual experiences that involve a third party, there's also bonding that takes place at an emotional level. There's attachment that takes place. There's things that go beyond the physical that also then program you and condition you to experience that attachment elsewhere other than with your partner. And so I applaud the desire to improve sexual satisfaction in a relationship, but I could never condone using pornography to do so, because it literally works against you. It works against everything you want. Short term, there might be a temporary improvement. It might look like it's working, but stick around long enough and you'll be a statistic.
You brought up I like the example you used when you said if you're angry at your wife, because it's funny, sometimes maybe the sexual urge that you have may motivate you to actually improve things in your situation. And
Yeah.
and now that sexual urge is being diverted somewhere else.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a really good point, right? Like, in theory, if we're really after healthy relationships and meaningful connections, you're spot on. We should be able to harness all of this sexual drive and energy and desire towards our actual goals, which is to connect meaningfully. Unfortunately, that's kind of the same thing as like saying, when you eat whole natural foods and you sleep 8 hours a night and you exercise 3 times a week, you feel amazing, don't you? But what's the problem? The problem in America is that to eat whole natural foods is really expensive. It actually costs a lot of money. And it's much cheaper to buy stuff that's processed and packaged and perfectly engineered so that it tastes really, really good and leaves us wanting more. And pornography is fast food intimacy. It's the same equivalent. And so we should be able to harness our sexual drive for the things that we really want, but we almost can't, because the counterfeit, the fast food version, is so accessible to us. It's almost irresistible.
Yeah, you've said something amazing, because I know we've spoken a lot about the fact that, hey, if you quit pornography, your relationship with your wife or girlfriend can become better. But someone like me, who's single in the market, is quitting pornography can help a lot, because getting back self-security is massive when you're looking for a partner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think we're just scratching the surface with that. If you're single and you're really serious about, wanting to have a relationship, quitting pornography is the best thing you can do. Because again, pornography conditions you to treat women differently. It conditions you to get a result very quickly. When you learn how to pursue somebody, it's really, really good for you. And all the data suggests that men who quit pornography when they're single bring very few issues into a relationship or into a marriage. So all the effects that we talked about that pornography has on relationships, you basically eliminate that possibility when you quit before you meet that person. And that's a really cool part of my story, Rishi. I don't know if you know about this. I don't talk about this as much these days. But one of my prayers when I was a single man struggling with pornography, and one of my prayers was, God, whoever my future wife is, keep her from me until you think I'm ready. Because I knew that pornography was relationally harmful, and I didn't want it to harm the person that I was supposed to be with. And I quit pornography February 2016, and I met Shaloma, who is now my wife, November 2016.
Shut up, bro.
Yeah, bro. 9 months later. So God totally answered that prayer, and I'll tell you, like, our relationship is completely different because I quit pornography. It was the best thing I ever did for my marriage.
Dude, I mean, that is absurd. Like, that is mental how life works, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, for me, like, I couldn't deny God's role in that. Like, I prayed. It was legitimately a prayer that I had prayed, and I just felt like God answered it, and saw the effort I put in, but also I think He honored that. He knew that I was going to take good care of her because I wasn't going to bring pornography into the relationship, and He gave me an incredible woman that I'm very grateful for.
Yo, if you like that, then you're gonna like this, the full episode. Come on, you want to click it. Come on. All right, well, if you're not gonna click that, you might as well subscribe.